Alright, so I'm going to walk through a quick little video on how to use the Domino to help you install Z-clips and go through the settings that will make it a lot easier for you as you go. So first off, what are Z-clips? Well, this is a Z-clip you can get on Amazon, and they're used to attach a tabletop to an apron so that the tabletop can move as it expands with the humidity and constricts with the weather. So these are important to install, but if you don't install them properly, your tabletop will not be able to move, and you'll have some issues with cracking and things breaking along the way. So let me show you what I'm talking about here. So this is my mock-up of my table, and so let's pretend that this is my tabletop and I have it laying upside down, and this is the apron that's going to go around the tabletop that we could attach the legs to, or it's more decorative. And so the idea is, if I have my tabletop upside down, I have my apron here, I need to attach these Z-clips so that they hold onto the table, but they have a little groove, they have a little slot right about here, where as the tabletop moves left and right or expands, it can move left or right in this groove, and that's where we're going to use the Domino here. So I'll show you how we're going to do that. First, let me go through some settings. For most Z-clips, I'm using a 5mm bit. I set the plunge depth at 12 millimeters. That's how far it's going to go into the actual wood. And I have the height at 28 millimeters, which matches the height on the Z-clip. Okay. So these are the settings: 5mm bit, 12 millimeter plunge, and a 28mm height on the actual machine. So I have all these set up, so let me walk you through how I'm going to do this. And get my mock-up out of the way. Okay. I'm going to pretend that I have this apron clamped. Okay. And the important thing to remember here is that you need to mark where you want your Domino, or where you want your Z-clip to go. So remember, this is upside down. So if I want my Z-clip to go here, I just put a little mark, right? And it will come down the appropriate measurement to where I need it to go, because I have the Domino set up properly. Okay, so I have it set up properly. I have my 5mm bit in the Domino. I have it set to 28 on the height, and then I have the plunge depth set to 12. The other important thing is, on the Domino, you have 3 settings for your slot. And so what you're going to do is, you can't use the tight setting, because the whole purpose is that you create a groove so that the Z-clip can go back and forth in that little channel. So once you turn it on, you want to move it to the middle or the high setting, or the medium or the wide setting, I guess, depending on how much movement you want to allow for. So for this one, I'm going to move it from the medium to the wide setting. So get your Domino started. Okay, set that off to the side, and I'm going to go ahead and unclamp it. Okay, so now I have my groove for my Z-clip, and you can see that's about, let's see, it's about 1 inch wide. So now I have a full inch of movement in this tabletop. So how does this work with the actual top? Well, let's go back to our mock-up. Okay, so I have my apron. Apron goes there. I attach the Z-clip. I put it in the center, just like that. And I take my screwdriver. Make sure I pick a screw that isn't going to go through my top. And the whole key here is, you want to allow for movement. So you can't screw this down right? You can't screw this down so tight that it holds the apron in. Right? So that's screwed so tight that no amount of wood movement, even though I left a groove here, it's not going to be able to move back and forth. So you want to keep this a little loose so that your apron can go back and forth, but it can't rise up and come out of your slot there. So this may be a little loose remember there's going to be an apron all the way down. So you want to find that fine line between loose and tight where the joint or the clip still can move back and forth as the wood moves, right? In fact, this is going to stay still and your tabletop's going to move, and it holds it in place. So that is a quick little setting. Again, here's the settings for your domino for most Z-clips. 5mm bit, 12mm plunge, and a 28mm height. And that's the settings for the DF500 on the Domino Festool. So hope that helps you out.